Welcome to Smash Writing. It's very bright in here today, so I'm wearing my sunglasses. But welcome to Smash Writing. Today, we are reviewing...
Superman Brainiac attacks.
And so, once again, Justin comes up with this creative, long idea that we'll be doing this until 2042. Reviewing the DC animation films.
We'll see if Paul continues it when I die in 2039. Or 2029.
Sammy will be here. This is this is truly the first Superman one.
Yeah.
In this whole process that we, because the first 4 or 5 was Batman.
Yeah, and then there's that Gen
13 that could only be found on YouTube.
Thank you to that YouTube person.
Yes, appreciate it. It was still good quality. We were able to watch it all. But so yeah, this is the first Superman. We were literally just talking about this film, in the sense of like, for me personally, like this was really my first time experiencing Superman animation.
Wait till you get to The Dark Knight, Part 2.
Okay.
Whenever they introduce Superman in that one, a bald eagle literally lands on his shoulder.
Gee, we didn't know it was Superman. But without further ado, give us the plot.
We open up with Lex talking about Kryptonite. He's upset over the fact he only has a small little slither.
For like $3 billion?
Yeah, like so much money he spent, it's only a little slither. But...
yes, it could knock down Superman, your arch nemesis.
yeah, but he wants enough that'll explode his head. But his reputation is in the dumps, and Superman's is sky high. So he's created something that'll, put him back on the map. The Lex 9000, a satellite that's designed to shoot down meteors.
Your mobile device has lost connection to the internet. Please try again a bit later.
Yes, get your shit together, Paul. Anyway, though, he's got his first chance because something is skyrocketing toward Earth. And his satellite cannot hit it for shit, and it crashes into his building.
So I wonder why his reputation's going down.
It's Brainiac, of course. And he gets to work sucking up all the data from Lex's lab. This is like unnerved Lex. He's like, son of a bitch. My project. My building. And back at the Daily Planet, though, they send out Lois and Jimmy to go cover it. And she's in a hurry. She needs to beat Clark, who's already flying there. So she's not going to be able to beat him. Before he can start fighting off Brainiac, though, Brainiac launches off a missile, so he has to go deal with that. But, he deals with it, flies back no time, no problem at all, So now the fight starts. And we learn that he has control over the satellite, and it keeps shooting Superman down.
You're dead.
There we go.
Boy, keep getting interrupted on this one.
Fun times.
So he keeps shooting Superman with the laser from the satellite and firing off all of Lex's weapons. Well, this does put Lois in danger because she had climbed the top of a satellite trying to get a better view of everything. Well, not a satellite, electric tower kind of deal. And remember, he hears Jimmy calling for help. He freezes Brainiac, punches him into a bunch of pieces, and makes the save on Lois. He's like, you really got to start, being careful here. She's like, oh, you always catch me, it's fine. Meanwhile, Lex has collected a small piece of Brainiac that's still living, and is hiding him in his pocket. And he's getting blamed, but he's like, it's not my fault Brainiac did this.
I mean, true.
Yeah.
I mean...
as Superman pointed out the flaw, he's like, well, if your satellite did its job...
nice way to rub it in.
And, meanwhile, though, we learned that, the head of the planet wants to make Clark the head of foreign correspondence, and he keeps turning them down. And Jimmy's perving on Mercy, Lex's assistant, because that's all he took pictures of. And at this point, it's like, just light Jimmy on fire. Like the whole next 3 minutes is me just wanting to light Jimmy on fire.
Oh yeah, because like That's when Lois is like basically tells him like the food critic what
Yeah, Sarah.
Sarah like has the hots for him, and like what was his initial response was like,
It's like you're like throwing up. You're like, good lord, man, have you seen you?
yeah, I mean obviously they build Sarah as like an attractive nerd like character, and he's just like, no, I want Luke's assistant.
Yeah.
Luke's assistant's like,
And she's like, Mercy will eat you alive, Jimmy.
and boy does she.
If Jimmy would have died, I probably would have bumped this up a grade.
Literally to this point, I never heard of Jimmy because like I said Superman's not my expertise, so I was like, who the fuck is this Jimmy?
That's Superman's best friend. He had he had an entire comic one. I think it was called Superman's Friend Jimmy.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll look it up and I'll put it at the bottom.
But yet Jimmy's more like with Lois during this whole thing. Like,
Well, he works with Lois, but he's Superman's friend.
oh, okay.
Clark's gone home for advice because he's getting worried that Lois is a really great reporter and eventually, sooner rather than later, is going to see through Clark. And whether or not he should just outright tell her. And his parents are like, well, yeah, tell her. What's wrong with you? We know you're Superman and we're fine. Which, you know.
I mean, you do have a point.
Yes. Meanwhile, while this is all going on, Lex and Brainiac have worked out a deal where they'll help each other out, kind of deal. And in return, even he's going to equip Brainiac with the kryptonite to infuse into a weapon to use against Superman to take him down. And we get a little montage with Clark trying to get a moment with Lois, and Sarah trying to get a moment with Jimmy. It's like, seriously, just catch him on fire. Good lord. He hides out in a bathroom stall to eat his donuts.
Yeah.
Or was it pizza or some shit?
No, it was donuts. He was eating donuts in a bathroom stall. You know, some people should just be grateful what day they can get. Jimmy should be one of them.
Good lord, so it's not even that bad looking. Like, what is...
I don't understand his whole issue. Like, picky, I guess? I don't know. She's a food critic. So what? You're a photographer. Shut up.
Also, we'll do real quick this beside the kryptonite, he also gets a piece of Superman's DNA so he can track down Superman wherever. Which comes into play because that night Sarah calls out, probably depressed because of fucking Jimmy.
being dumb.
Fucking weird. He's being fucking weird. He's being weirder than she is.
That is true.
Anyway, so Clark has to cover for her, and he takes Lois to this nice restaurant. He's about to tell her whenever Brainiac attacks. And both of them end up getting injured. Superman's able to walk it off a bit more, but it puts Lois out. And he puts Brainiac down again, and he flies Lois to the hospital. What's happened is a bit of kryptonite has infused with her blood cells, and is killing her slowly. So he flies off to the fortress to try to work out a cure. And he finds out the only thing that can cure her is in the Phantom Zone, which is a really bad prison. It'll shield him and cure him, and it'll cure her, if he can get to it. Before he can leave, though, Brainiac arrives again. And starts sucking up the data at the fortress, and he self-destructs and blows up the whole thing. Sending Brainiac flying, but he flies into the Phantom Zone. So there's no one left to protect Metropolis, and that's where Brainiac is heading. Meanwhile, at the Phantom Zone, he manages to find a cure, and he flies out. He gives the cure to Lois. But you can tell something's wrong, because while he's in Metropolis, Brainiac and Luthor are fighting Metropolis. Luthor was supposed to beat Brainiac, but Brainiac has second thoughts. He's like, no, I am the bad guy here. So now Luthor's in a fight for his life.
Which was predictable.
Yeah.
Super villains trying to agree to share something. No.
Meanwhile, though, the Superman finally puts it together that he's still in the Phantom Zone. He's never escaped. This is not real. So he, once again, has to fight his way out. And he gets to Metropolis, but before he can get to Lois, he has to deal with Brainiac. And that starts a big, long fight that he finally manages to walk away victorious in. And he flies off to go help Lois. while Luthor is celebrating the teamwork between him and Superman is what really saved the day. So Superman saves Lois, and he has a moment to come out as Clark and everything, but he decides not to. And Luthor is getting outed as the reason for Brainiac having kryptonite and everything. Meanwhile, Lois, Superman is actually going to quit the planet, Daily Planet, and everything. But before he can, they get a story that something's going on at the docks, and Lois jumps out of the wheelchair and she's already racing off to cover the story. So Clark has to go racing off after her to make sure she's okay. He's going to stay with the planet, but he's no longer going to be foreign correspondent.
And that is all, folks.
So this movie, it really hinders a lot on his secret identity and coming out to Lois. And we talked about this. You always get that storyline where the superhero is trying to protect her secret identity.
Right.
But I think the weakest one is Superman and Lois. Because that no longer applies to her, keeping her safe, whenever she's the one throwing herself in danger.
And it's always been a Lois thing. Like,
yeah,
this is
she's
not,
always...
This is not just for this film. She's always been going to get the story at any cost. If that means putting her life in danger, she's going to do it.
Okay. There's a funny what if they did with her one time. I can't remember what it was for. I'll put it at the bottom. We have to go back to that channel and watch a bunch of shit. But her car breaks down, and because of Superman always being there to catch her, she doesn't want to be late to work. She hurls herself off a cliff. It helps with Superman coming to save her and take her to work. But he's not on the planet.
Good. I mean,
I think it was what if Lex Luthor marries Lois. Because he ends up being the one who saves her from the coma she puts herself in.
Jesus. But see, like, okay, so, like, that's where, like, you know, what you were just talking about was, like, he doesn't want Lois to get in any type of danger if she was to find out his true identity, yet she puts herself in danger.
Yeah. It's like, the villains don't have to go find Lois. They just have to
finds them.
Look around the scene. You'll see her floating around.
She's like one of those ones where they'll probably get annoyed with her, just like, God, why are you here, woman? You know I'm a supervillain. So, yeah, and my big pet peeve is with Superman's identity is like a pair of fucking glasses.
Well, it's a lot more than that. It is a lot more than that. First off, there's like a 3-inch height difference. Because when he's Clark, he actually hunches his shoulders like this. Mm-hmm. The way he looks like he's standing taller, but he's actually hunched.
Okay.
So between the two, it's literally how they're holding each themselves. And when you're around bumbling, stupid Clark all day, who's tripping over his own feet, despite the fact they look similar, your brain can't comprehend that the two are the same person.
Because they're two different personalities.
Because they're acting like two whole different people.
I mean, yeah, I get that. It's just, there's still similarities that you still have to almost put together.
Yeah. And you also have to be around Clark a lot more often.
Which, I mean...
Well, which is like, that would be a rare fear with Lois, because eventually Lois will piece it together. She's not going to be fooled all of the time.
Right. And I know it was the Phantom scene, but...
Yeah.
She still kind of called him out, like...
Well, even when she was actually coming out of the... and waking up...
Yeah, that's true, too. She looked like Clark, and he's like, not exactly Superman.
Yeah, it's a matter of... you can see that they look similar, but you can't comprehend that the bumbling idiot is actually Superman.
Right. I gotta admit, this is my first introduction to Brainiac. I know this film was off, playing off the animated adventures of Superman or something it's called. So I didn't really know much. So when they was like, Brainiac's back, I was like, no, this is the first time. Yeah. But, like, I get it. It took place in a universe where... He's already known. But for somebody who's, like, a basic fan of the movies and etc., I don't know too many Superman villains except a few.
Right.
General Zod and
Darkseid.
Darkseid, Luther. That's really like as
Yeah.
much as I get involved there. So seeing this Brainiac was kind of like a little different one, and knowing that it's like a organic computer chip.
Yeah. Well, Brainiac's whole thing is he's collecting data and wiping out the area, so he only has it. Because knowledge is power, and as long as he's the only one who has it,
Then he has
all the power.
Makes sense. Isn't that kind of Luther's MO too?
No, Luther wants to be loved. He wants power, control, and love.
Oh,
Yes.
don't seem that bad now.
But also, in a way, like Luther, the reason why Luther is long-standing is because he does have a point whenever he says, if Superman is doing all of the work, then we as a human race will not strive for the next step forward. Because we always have a safety net in Superman.
Right. Logic.
Yeah, so to a point, like, Luther is a villain, he does evil shit, but at the base of him, he does come across with a point.
It's like, yeah, if you just went left instead of right, it would be actually a pretty good idea. Makes sense. What's...
I do think Luthor is a big con in this movie, though. He's a big hit against it. Because they make him too much of an idiot.
That is true.
Yeah, he does become real obnoxious in this movie because how stupid he is. I mean, he's still better than the one we got in Batman vs. Superman. I had to take that shot.
Yeah.
I had it right there. It was served to me on the tee. But the idiot, dumb Luthor is kind of annoying whenever you notice how good of a villain he is.
And I want to assume at this point in this animated franchise, he's well established as a villain.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when he was making a deal with the Brainiac, it's like, and then it falling through, it's like, did you really think that was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, really? And honestly, to my credit, like, the little bit of that I know of Luther, I thought he was going to be the double crossing. I didn't think he would be the one that would stick to the plan. Of all things, him. So I was like, that doesn't feel right to me. Like, I feel like Luther would try to make the move first, and then just Brainiac being stronger and smarter, just beat it out.
Yeah.
But I didn't think Luther would actually stick to the plan. So.
Alright, great. I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that as well because, like I said, I didn't like the portrayal of Luther. The introduction to Brainiac, sure. I'm not always the biggest Superman fan. I get your explanation of the identity. It did seem like at times like contradicting himself, like, when he decided to stay for Lois to like help protect her. It's like, no, she needs to kind of learn her lesson with trying to go up electrical towers to get a better view of what's going on. It wasn't even like she's a photographer. Like, Boy Wonder Jimmy could do that, because that would make sense because he's worried about the shot.
Yeah.
Not Lois, who is a reporter. She shouldn't be going up on top, and what you were saying about her always being a daredevil anyway.
Jimmy won't talk to Sarah, let alone climb a tower.
Yeah, so seeing how much a good photographer he is.
That's the worst. Jimmy's getting an F. F for Jimmy.
Just go out on a date with Sarah, you bastard. Yeah, I'm giving it a C, and it's there. Like, I'm not saying no.
Yeah, it's
I'm
fine.
just saying it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's there. What's our next one at this point?
The next one is, I have the list. I saved it so I never lose it.
The 852 films we gotta do.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh.
He lost the list.
No, I didn't. It's just the house's shitty internet service here.
Because you're not on the Wi-Fi.
Oh, the next one is Teen Titans: Trouble in Tokyo.
Okay.
And then we're back to Superman.
Superman Doomsday.
Doomsday.
Okay.
It's the death of Superman.
Ooh. So it's going to get interesting. Teen Titans, that's what I'm looking forward to.
To answer the question, Superman and Brainiac Attack came out in 2006.
Wow, feels like it. See, that's the thing too. Like we didn't get to talk about the graphics. It did seem like it was more like closer to the '90s than mid 2000s.
Yeah.
But that is our review of Superman: Brainiac Attacks. Until next time.
Bye bye.